Okay, we're back with you here on Gridiron. This is our Red Hurricane Report with Larry Kelly. And Mr. Kelly, the floor is yours, sir.
Well, the Hurricane had Aliquippa on Friday, and not an unexpected result. Aliquippa, they're the #1 team, not only in the WPIL, but also in the entire state of Pennsylvania. Final score 54-6. I wasn't at the game, nor did I listen to it. It was 48-0 at halftime. It looks like Aliquippa may have called off the Dogs in the second half. But these are the types of games that, test your mettle. It's a learning experience for the Red Hurricane. Once again, let's try to get incrementally better. There was a 38-yard touchdown pass in the fourth quarter to Tyler Lincoln's from Kyrell Harris. That combination has been clicking all year. And both of these players, I believe, I know Kyrell's only a sophomore. I believe Tyler's an underclassman also. You can confirm that. So it's something to build on. Was talking to Mark Mangino today, head football coach, University of Kansas for years. He said he watched one of the Newcastle games, and he thinks there's a few young players out there who are going to get better, who can help turn this around. But it doesn't happen overnight. They got Ambridge next week. It's two even teams. And it's a game that Newcastle can win. Let's see if they learn from, their past experiences and maybe put together 4 quarters and come home with a victory. They got the Bridgers at home on Friday night.
Sure. All right. Larry, the other day on game day, I believe it was, there's a post on Twitter that's made every week for game day. Rich Latreno will have a post with the football helmets of Newcastle and their opposition, wishing good luck to the Canes. And I saw that somebody had commented, and I thought, well, I wonder if he added something to it. So I clicked on it, and the comment, there was a comment by somebody. I won't reveal who, but if you're at all interested, it's on Rich Latreno's Twitter. The post, I will read it. Quote, "Time for the school board to open up the coaching position. Coach Robinson is a great person, exclamation points. Great man, exclamation points. But this is clearly, uppercase, not working. In the 6 losses without Char Valley, outscored by 45 points a game," the next 3 words concludes it, and it's all in uppercase. "No incremental improvement," close quote. So Larry, first question to you. When the football season started in terms of practice, yes or no, did the Newcastle Red Hurricane have around about 60-some guys for the first day of practice?
Yes, they did.
Okay. Would you say over or under, and we'll put the number at a half, meaning if it's got to be over, it's got to be at least 1. Under would be 0. Would you say that there is any kid walking the halls of Newcastle High School between the grades of 9 through 12 that would be a Division I football player that did not go out for the team in Division I, championship subdivision or bowl subdivision? It could be Indiana State, Youngstown State, Georgia, Texas, Southern Cal, Ohio State. Is there anybody in that school that did not come out for the football team that would be a bona fide Division I football player?
No.
Okay, so we're on board with that. Next, Stacy Robinson was hired in around April, I think it was. So you miss key dates. And a lot of people would say, well, Ron, they've had 4 months. He had 4 months with the kids. No, that doesn't cut it. Newcastle's football season officially ends a week from Friday when they play Blackhawk. Good, bad, or indifferent. Their football season will end. The football coaches, if you don't make the playoffs, they will take about a month off, let the body heal, let them be a student, let them be a kid again, and then they'll get in the weight room. Those kids will go to the rack and they'll work out. They need that time. That's when you win football games. You don't win football games per se on a Friday night. Technically you do, yes, you do, but you start building camaraderie and you start building your body and stuff. You need that. He's going to be with those kids starting in December. That's going to be his second year. Now, my comment would be, do you want to be the Pittsburgh Steelers or do you want to be the Cleveland Browns? You want to fire a guy every year and start over from scratch, or do you want to have some sort of stability where you can say, Stacy's our guy and let's see what we do with Stacy? Me personally, I want to be the Pittsburgh Steelers. I want to roll with Stacy and see what we got. Evaluate them after 3 years. You can't just fire somebody after 1 year. Granted, it's a rough year. He'll be the first one to tell you. But I'm here to tell you, Larry, Bo Schembechler, Woody Hayes, Ryan Day, Brian Kelly, all these guys, Jim Harbaugh, John Harbaugh, Bill Walsh, Chuck Noll, any of these guys, you can't tell me that they would have better results than what Stacy is getting. It sucks that their record is what it is. It sucks that the team is losing, in the fashion that they are. But guess what? They are playing in the best conference in Class 4A, maybe the entire WPIL. You've got Aliquippa, you got Montour, you got West Allegheny, you got Central Valley. Let them have the off season and build this program. You yourself have said throughout the season, these are young kids, they're young guys, 14 and 15-year-olds going up against 17 and 18-year-olds. It's not going to be, a great outcome. Let these kids get older, let them get in the weight room, get more experience. Then let's talk, after he has like maybe 3 years under his belt. But to say that he needs to be, fired, I just can't believe somebody would think that. And I'm totally out on that. You gotta let Stacy do his thing. Give him at least 3 years.
Well, let me stop you. Stacy Robinson has not forgotten how to coach football. He hasn't. He's had a tremendous amount of success at Union. And
Agreed.
This isn't on Stacy.
Nope.
With all due respect, and I love those kids at Newcastle. You understand? I love them. I coached many of them. Vince Lombardi could not win with the young men that are on the field right now.
Agreed.
I talked to one of the assistant coaches last week. They have 2 guys on the offensive line who've never played football before. You're not going to beat the Aliquippas and the Montours and the West Alleghenies with inexperienced underclassmen. And I don't care who's coaching the team. So to suggest that Stacy should be fired is insanity.
Yeah.
He knows how to coach. He's had success, and it takes time, Ronnie. It takes time. And, it's just not going to happen overnight. And let me say another thing about this. It's all about the players, Ronnie. It's all about the players. You can make a good player as a coach a little bit better. Listen, I've been coaching for 25 years at every level, from elementary school to high school. You can make a good player a little bit better as a coach, but you are never going to make a player who does not have the talent or the ability, who is below average, a good or great player. That's not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. And I've been there. I've done that. I've seen it. It's all about the players. It's all about the players. People wanted to build a statue of Larry Kelly in front of Shenango High School when we won the Whipple Championship. And I told them, this isn't about me. We won because we had good players. I used to give signs at third base. I'm not even so sure they watched. You understand? I had guys who knew how to play. I had guys who were mentally and physically tough. It wasn't about me. I almost want to say that sometimes his coaching is overrated. If you got good players, you're probably going to win. And unfortunately, right now, Stacy does not have veteran players who have experience. He just doesn't have that. And you're not going to beat the Aliquippas and West Alleghenies and Montours with 9th and 10th graders on the field. It's not going to happen.
And one thing that he has been bitten by, and it would work the same way no matter who you have roaming the sideline. Like I said, Chuck Noll, Bill Walsh, Bill Belichick, it doesn't matter, is the injury bug. He's been ravaged this year with injuries. Kayvon Gardner hasn't played in about 3 or 4 games. So, you know, if you're going to take Kayvon Gardner away from him, and then there have been other players, you know, on the line that have been out too, that's hard to win when you're going to your second and third stringers. They had a third string long snapper in that Char Valley game. That's very rare, very unusual to have a third string long snapper, you know, in a game. Granted, it's toward the end of the season, but that just shows you how ravaged they are. They're pulling guys left and right, saying, "Can you long snap? How about you? You know, let's see what you got." And you know, at some point when you get to the third string at a long snapper, you know, it's not going to be easy to get great results.
No, and as I said, Coach Robinson has not forgotten how to coach. And just go check his record at Union, and you'll find out that when he had good players, when he had upperclassmen and experienced players, he won a lot of games. And he will do the same at Newcastle, but it doesn't happen overnight.
Yeah, we're all entitled to opinions, but to say that he needs to go, well, you know what? You may have that opinion, but you're wrong, because Stacy Robinson, as you mentioned, he knows what he's doing. Got to give him time. This is his first time in the program. Give him after 3 years, you know, if you want to have any kind of an opinion or anything like that, you know, maybe it'll have more validity towards it. But right now, no, it's far too early. Two thumbs down on that, big time. And
yeah, I would agree with you. I mean, I would agree with you. And, you know, he hasn't forgotten how to coach.
No.
And, you know, once he gets some experienced upperclassmen, the results are going to be completely different. You cannot win the high school football games with 9th and 10th graders, not in this conference. You just can't. It's not going to happen. Just the physicality of the game, the maturity level of the players, both mentally and physically, it's a big difference. And yeah, it's way too early to start evaluating the coaching staff at Newcastle. It's way too early for that. These young men, I know many on that staff, they know how to coach. They've seen the movie before. They know how to get it done.
Mm-hmm. And Larry, real quick, you know, just with that, you have a coaching background, although not in football, but you know, you do have a coaching background. They are officially eliminated from the playoffs. So while a lot of people might say, well, they're just playing these last two games for kicks. No, there's plenty at stake, because you want to go into the postseason with momentum. You want to be feeling good when it's time to go to the rack in December and start working out and things like that. You want to be able to say, hey, we won our last two games. The season didn't go the way we wanted it to, but we won our last two games. Let's build off of that. You go into the postseason or the off season on a 2-game winning streak, even if it's just one, even if you just win your final game, that's going to mean the world to that program coming out of it and then on into the spring and summer.
And they have a chance to win these last 2 games. You know, nothing succeeds like success. Nothing. And you know, look, I'm just looking at the box score. You know, they played one of the best teams in Pennsylvania, and you know the statistics reveal that. However, you know, again, Tyler Leakins, another touchdown pass from Kyrell Harris. This got to be the 3rd, 4th, 5th touchdown pass over 30 yards these two young men hooked up on. And so, you know, to me, that is incremental improvement. I'm looking at the penalties. You remember the problem that the penalties were at the beginning of the year? They had 4 penalties for 14 yards. So, you know, there is some improvement here, and it would be nice to see them take care of these last 2 opponents and win 2 games. Football's a tough sport, Ronnie, and when you're not winning, man, it is hard to go to practice, and it is really, really hard to do and put in the work that is necessary in the winter without having a little bit of success during your season. So let's hope they pull these next 2 out and get a jump start on next year.
There's one thing I learned growing up around here. People should look out for each other. Be friends and neighbors that you can count on. So it bothers me when people who are hurt in automobile accidents get bullied by the insurance company. I don't let bullies run over my clients. I do what I was taught growing up. Step up, stand up, and speak up for those who can't. I'm Larry Kelly, and I'm a Newcastle guy.